Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst. This is Before the Box Score, your recap of the Mississippi State game. Hey, Missouri won on the road against a conference opponent. You don't get to say that all that often. But you also don't get to play teams as bad as Mississippi State. Hurst, how are you feeling today?
Doing great. Just got back from a beatdown of another sport, Tiger basketball. Enjoying taking souls against a very weak schedule. So it was a productive Mizzou sporting weekend for sure. And Mizzou didn't quite beat Mississippi State as badly as the basketball team beat Arkansas Pine Bluff, but I will take a 3-score game on the road any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, we spent the entire Wednesday show saying, Eli Drinkwitz doesn't score 40 points. He doesn't beat conference opponents by multiple scores, and he flirted with 40. If Mississippi State didn't shut the F up, he was going to score 40, but they did, and he didn't. And so it's a multi-score win for Eli Drinkwitz, which are very elusive outside of 2023. It's on the road. It's against a conference opponent. Missouri is now, well, they're 8-3, and we'll get into what that means long-term, but this game was, it was a weird one. The first quarter lasted about 3 hours. It felt like the rest of the game went by like that. Thanks to Mizzou deciding to just run the dang ball. I remember in our show on Wednesday, I said, hey, this is a situation where Mizzou can run the ball a ton and Mississippi State will probably log a bunch of explosive plays. It'll be closer than you want. And wouldn't you know it? That's basically what happened. Now the feelings and the context kind of differ as you go through it, but I don't know, man. This one played out exactly as I thought it was going to, and I wasn't really concerned, just mostly angry. How did you deal with this game?
It was kind of swinging. I mean, there are moments where I was feeling really good. I was feeling really good at 14-3. I was feeling really good at 28-10. I was feeling really good at 31-13. And then, there'd be a play here or there, a defensive breakdown that would kind of agitate me. And then, we'd come back and score again. It did, back to playing out how we had predicted. I will give you credit. You predicted a 38-20 score. And had Mizzou not gone for two, they would have finished 38-20. So I was a little more optimistic on the offensive end. I thought we'd get to 30 or 41, but we were close. We were 38-20, 41-24. So we were right about where we thought it'd be. We knew Mizzou was going to move the ball. We knew they were going to put up points. We knew that Mississippi State was going to put up some points as well. So it played out like we did, but also in a weird way. So I didn't necessarily expect it to be as weird. I didn't expect the defense to give up 100+ yards to their running back on the ground. But they gave up fewer yards to the air. I thought they'd have a few more explosive plays through the air, which they didn't have. Mississippi State, that is. So it all evened out to a healthy, comfortable. There was a time there in the late third, early fourth quarter where it was a little, could have gone either way, but the defense bowed up, got a big fourth down stop, which I thought Mississippi State probably should have kicked the field goal. They chose not to, and the rest is history at that point.
Yeah, I mean, sitting here and saying, hey, Missouri's going to win. It's not going to be as much as you think, and they're going to give up some big plays. You can hear that, and you can go, okay, I'm good with that. And then you experience it, and you're like, oh, my God. Because it's how they give up the big plays. It's the bad angles, or it's the continuous bad tackling, which kind of reared its head again. Or lack of tackling, more just hitting instead of tackling, which is very frustrating. So, I mean, the context of how you get there can really color how you feel about it. And, sitting there watching your TV, it feels like it's avoidable, these big plays. But this is kind of what Mizzou's defense does, and they weathered the storm. They had some key stops, like you mentioned. Of course, Missouri's offense just went, full, just sit on it, pow, sumo wrestler on your chest, and just did not give Mississippi State a chance to run their offense in the second half. Very content, just let the clock die, and it worked. It worked. That's the best part. So Mizzou finished strong with their scoring opportunities, especially in the first half. I think they averaged 7 points in the first half per scoring opportunity. Started settling for field goals and just being content moving the ball. How many To your knowledge, how many times have you witnessed a Mizzou football game where they ran the ball 52 times? I was
Oh
I
my
was racking my brain. I can't think of the last time I've seen that.
it would have, it probably would have been if it wasn't 2020.
Yeah.
They like to run the ball a lot in 2020 with Larry Roundtree. If it wasn't 2020, it would have probably been one of those like Brad Smith, Zach Abron teams in
Ah, yeah.
2003,
Yeah.
circa Texas Tech, where they blew
Yeah.
out Texas Tech on the ground and ran over them all day. So it would probably, if it wasn't 2020, it'd be 2003. That would be my guess.
See, now I'm not gonna look at that game because that was the 62-31, right? That's the one you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Or perhaps if there was a year in between 2011, they ran the ball a lot with Henry Josie, with James Franklin, with
They did
Marcus
2011.
Murphy in 2011. That would have been my other guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find a box score that's that old, but yeah, I would say Texas Tech is a good choice there. Um, maybe this has it. Isn't this a good show? I'm glad you all are showing up for this. Here we go. Box score, final, uh, individual statistics. It looks like, oh, I remember BJ Simons. That's a dude, 40 for
Mm.
62. Woo. Wes Welker was on that team too. That's fun. So Missouri ran the ball 19 times with Brad Smith, 25 times with Zach Abron. Let me add this up. 19 plus 25 plus 10 from Damian Nash, RIP. That's 54 runs.
There
There you
you
go.
go. There you go.
Boy, got to go back to 2003.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that was three guys. I mean, this was, Missouri, to their credit, they've done a good job of trying to spread out the wealth and get a lot of running backs on there between Brady Cook, Jamal Roberts, Kwan Lacey got a carry before he was injured. And then, of course, Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll. That's five dudes, 52 carries. Nate Noel was obviously the bell cow. He was the headliner, but man, this is Missouri offensive line, even with the backup center, it was a bad defense, but they did what they're supposed to do, and they leaned on these guys. It was very impressive to see.
Yeah, it took them a little while to get going. The offensive line was actually quite bad the first two
Yeah.
drives of the game, which kind of just goes back to the continual slow starts this team has on the road or at home. It doesn't seem to matter. But that wonderful fumble recovery for and scoop and score kind of jump started things, and they never looked back after that. They kind of slowly got their forward momentum and never looked back. Drake Heismeyer was very good again. He had one iffy snap, which in three games, if your backup center's going to have one iffy snap, you're going to take that, and it didn't result in anything too disastrous. The offensive line was great. Was great.
Yeah. Yeah. And Missouri did try to throw the ball a couple times. 21 passes were called. One of those was a sack. So Brady Cook ended up 15 for 20 for 268 yards. That's a 75% completion percentage, by the way. They did not do it much. And in fact, most of the time they did it in the first half. But, kind of like what we said on Wednesday, is like, yes, you're going to be able to run the ball and kind of get away with it and not have to worry about anything else. But also, you only have Luther Burden and Theo Weiss for a handful more games. It'd be really nice to see them. They got involved. Luther Burden's catch in the first half, the touchdown catch, it's like he glitched through the system. I don't know how he caught that. Theo Weiss had some big plays. We saw Marquise Johnson have a big play again. Like, you want to get reminded that they can throw the ball as well as run it, even though they're better running. And it was a complete offensive performance against one of the worst defenses in the country. I know that, but it was complete. It made me feel good.
Definitely. It was by far Brady Cook's best game of the season, albeit against the probably fourth worst team that they've played this year, but by far his best game. 15 for 20, 268 yards. Only one touchdown, but that one was a great play where he scrambled out, made an accurate throw on the run, which we have not seen much from him. His ankle, by the way, looked way better. Really, in general, across the board, he looked more healthy, but especially his ankle, he was much more comfortable. It looked like getting out of the pocket, throwing the ball downfield. It was also Luther Burden's best game of the year, I'd have to say, 7 for 91 yards in the touchdown. That catch was the type of catch that happens to you against you in NCAA 25. It makes you want to throw your controller into the screen, because there's just no way that ball should have not been deflected by the defender, and yet somehow it's a touchdown in the back of the end zone. So congrats, Luther. You are now making video game plays for real.
Yeah. And of course, Mississippi State tried to win too. I'll give them credit for that. Oh God, I almost called him Martin Van Buren. Michael Van Buren, not the president of the United States, but the quarterback from Mississippi State. He did admirably. I thought the Mississippi State offense was doing exactly what it wanted to do. Found a way to get big plays. Actually, was pretty successful and pretty efficient too. Not only just finding holes and on the big plays, but moving the chains, getting 3, 4, 5 yards when they needed. It's just they had some bad drops, they had some inaccurate passes, and over time, Van Buren kind of was a freshman. He saw some pressure, succumbed to the pressure. A couple of fourth down calls that were kind of iffy, bad throws. At some point I was just like, it's very clear that he likes to throw the slant, and that's really all he can throw. And Missouri kind of figured that out and let him have it and took everything else away. So what can you say when a freshman quarterback kind of screws up and still logs big yards? I mean, it's kind of what we expected.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of those were, I mean, it was pretty much entirely RPOs. Mizzou was playing very soft man coverage. It was, well, a lot, they got rid of the zone a lot more. There was much more man, but it was very soft man. They were giving them those underneath slants, and they were taking advantage of it a lot, but they went to the well a few too many times, and on those fourth downs, some inaccurate passes. The plays were there. The receivers were open, or at least as open as they're going to typically be in an SEC game. But he wasn't able to hit those. He's a freshman. He played fine. I think he'll get better. This would have been probably a different looking offense if their starting quarterback to start the year, Blake Shapen, was playing, because he was playing pretty well before he went out with his season-ending injury. So that's kind of tough there for them. But they played well. I was more impressed / disappointed by the defense on the run, on the ground, and maybe it's because they were so concerned about not giving up the big play deep. But Devon Booth just right up the middle over and over and over again, and a lot of those were on those RPOs where depending on where the linebackers lined up, depending on where the safeties lined up, they're going to either hand it off or throw it. And they saw the breed that meant that the middle of the field is wide open, and so they just were out the middle for several long. He averaged 10 yards a carry, which is bad. Long of 43. I think he had another 25 or 30-yard run as well. So it was not great. But if you're going to do that instead of giving up multiple 50-yard passes, then it works out. It all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, and I mean it was a 50% success rate, which I think is the more damning thing, because they were not. That is not a success rate that they've ever had running the ball, and yet there he was ripping it off. So it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but at the same time, did it really hurt you? Like they were definitely trying to stop the big stuff, and they weren't successful 100%, but for the most part, it worked. But yeah, he was good. That was a Utah State transfer. He was good at Utah State, and he's good here. Obviously not good enough for them to win games, but okay. Also, if you didn't recognize Coleman, number 3 for Mississippi State, that's Kevin Coleman. Kevin Coleman was the top-ranked prospect from the state of Missouri in the 2022 class, same one as Luther Burden. He committed to Jackson State heading out of high school. Once Deion Sanders took the Colorado job and did not take Kevin Coleman, he then went to Louisville, and now he's at Mississippi State. I thought he played well. I thought their receivers were good. I mean, that's kind of what a Jeff Lebby offense does. It gets receivers open in space to let them do their thing. Again, not enough. I just, when you go that fast and you're that good at creating big plays like that, and you go up against this defense, this sort of thing is going to happen. I thought for the most part, the secondary, no, they gave up a lot of passing yards, whatever. Like it's still the same team. And at this point in the season, kind of what you're going to get. If Mizzou goes up against a team that can create explosive plays, they're going to give up explosive plays. If they go up against a team that likes to run the ball a lot, they're not going to give up a lot on the run. They're really good at that. So teams have to find a way to take advantage of the obvious flaws that this defense has. Mississippi State did that. And guess what? Arkansas is going to be able to do that too. Now, Arkansas is not nearly as explosive or reliably explosive as Mississippi State, but they're still going to try to do the same thing. So this isn't, this part of the season is kind of fun. Is also kind of not interesting because like we know what's going to happen. We just don't know what the point total at the end is going to be, and if it hurts you too bad. So I don't know. I just it went exactly as I thought it was going to go, and yeah, it was frustrating in the middle, but like I was still pleased overall with the performance.
Yeah, I mean, you win you win a game once again by 3 scores on the road in the SEC, no matter what SEC team it is. I mean, you'd be happy. Mizzou beat Vanderbilt last year by 3 scores on the road. I was pretty happy with that. And that Vanderbilt team was just as bad as this Mississippi State team is. So you're not going to give those back. You're going to take them, and you're going to cherish them, and you're going to love them. Those 3 score road wins,
Yeah,
always. And it's nice to go, be 10 minutes left in the game and not be sweating and biting your fingernails, which most of the time under Eli Drinkwitz, that's the case, whether or not they end up winning or not. They tried to, though. I mean, they tried another field goal inside in the 40 to 49 range and missed it there in the late fourth, late third, early fourth quarter.
Late third,
I think it was late third quarter.
Yeah.
After the second very long drive. Which that was frustrating. There's something about that yardage range that Blake Gregg struggles with for some reason. But I think I figured out what the problem is. That when they get into that range and they don't throw the ball deep or at least downfield, that's when it stalls out. When they get into that 30 to 40 yards on the field, they throw it deep. Luther Burden, touchdown. They throw it deep. Marquise Johnson down to the 5. And they're fine punching it in from the 5-yard line. It's when they get to that just outside the red zone area that they have trouble. And when they try, when they led to what led to the field goals, they tried once again. They went back to the well after a few blessed weeks of not doing it. Brady Cook runs on the 35-yard line, have yet to work a single time. They tried it again, lost a couple yards. Then there was 3rd and long, and then there's incomplete pass, and then they missed a field goal. So I've been harping on that all season long. He was hurt for a while, so we didn't get to see it, didn't have to see it, and then they tried it again, and it didn't work. So we need to stop that. Throw deep 3 straight times from the 35. Throw it down the field. It'll work one of those times. I'm pretty confident with these receivers, and that's the answer. I've solved it. Hire me now. I'll be a consultant. Mizzou, Eli Drinkwitz, $100,000 consultancy, 3 months a year. I fix the problem.
That's a good gig if you can get it. Yeah, I mean, I know we reviewed the field goals last show, but let's do this one. So Missouri gets into they cross the 30-yard line in the third quarter. This is their first drive. They get a 4th and 1 on the 28. They convert it. So it's 1st and 10 on Mississippi State's 26. It goes Nate Noel run 3, Nate Noel run 4, Cook run 0. It's 4th and 3. You kick a field goal. You get it. It's 31-13. Okay. Next one. Missouri crosses onto the 27-yard line after Brady Cook hits Luther Burden for 28 yards. So it's 1st and 10 on the 27. To your point, Cook runs 0. And then incompletion to Johnson, incompletion to Norfleet, and then the field goal is no good. So if you do not get your yards on 1st down, which they almost always run it, which at this point I'm sure opponents realize that, then you're probably not going to get it, and they're going to kick a field goal. And if you keep them at the 48-49 range, then Blake Gregg's going to miss it. So there's your recipe. I mentioned how the weirdness of the plays. Do you know how many plays were run in the first quarter between both sides? Do you know?
It was probably a ton. It was probably close to 50 plays combined between the two of them.
Yeah, it was 42 total. Do you know how many plays Mississippi State ran in the third quarter?
I think they ran four or 5. They averaged close to 30 yards a play, which wasn't great. But they did only run 5.
Yeah. And then do you know how many they ran in the fourth quarter?
Probably like 8.
6.
Oh my God. 11 plays in the entire second half.
So they ran 24 plays in the first quarter. They ran 17 plays in the second quarter, and 5 in the third, and 6 in the fourth. So the second half, they did not even run as many plays as they ran in the second quarter.
That's crazy. I mean, and 95% of that is the offense doing an amazing job just sitting on the ball, and their defense not being able to get off the field. So the offense really gets the credit for that.
Absolutely.
More than anything.
I mean, look, I know I bemoaned the style of play last week. I know I did. I also said just win, baby. But like, if you gave me a preference on how to win, throw the damn ball. But if you want to run the damn ball and hold on to, have it one single possession go for over 8 minutes and a quarter, I'm good with that. It's not pretty, but that makes my team win. And it was very reminiscent of, you mentioned 2020 earlier, Kentucky 2020, when Missouri and Larry Roundtree basically pulled off, it was like a 16, 17 play drive and ended it with a missed field goal, if I remember correctly. It was very funny. But it took the air out of the sails, and Kentucky really couldn't do anything after that. And that was the first time we threw that monkey off of our back. Similarly here, we had not been beaten Mississippi State since we became SEC card carrying members. And what does Eli Drinkwitz do? He pounds the rock. Two separate drives that go for like 16 total minutes. I think Mississippi State had the ball for like 3 minutes in the second half, 3 game time minutes. Like that I'm good with that. That is triple option. That is Army. That is Navy. That is just, no, we're not letting you have the ball. Suck it. And it's very funny. It's very, very funny to watch. Again, not interesting, but very funny. And I appreciated that.
It's funny when you're on the side that's holding the ball. It is just the worst. It just feels like you're getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over again if you're on the other side. Yeah. So it's very nice to be that team that can do that. And for offenses like Mississippi State, where they're entirely rhythm based, keeping them off the field for a full hour between halftime and the first drive of the game, trying to get their rhythm back was very difficult. And they I guess they did their first drive, but then from then on out, they didn't do anything. So,
no.
Yeah, it was great. And if they can take that same strategy and execute it similarly against Arkansas this next week, it's going to bode very well for how that game ends up.
Yeah, Arkansas is a better defense, but yeah, do it. If you can, go ahead and do it. It's a great way to play. Shrink the game down, make me less stressed, and get the W. So I'm good with that. So we've talked before that college football, we always want to, the transitive property. The transitive property. If you did this, then that means you do that. And that's never the case. College football is less transitive property and more triangle strategy. Right? It's a little bit more rock, paper, scissors. Rock beats scissors, but scissors beats paper and paper beats rock. That's usually what college football is. And if you needed a reminder of that, you got 2 doses of it yesterday, because let's walk through it. Alabama smoked Missouri a couple weeks ago. Missouri beat Oklahoma with its backup quarterback, and then Oklahoma beat Alabama convincingly. And then on the other side, Texas A&M beat the brakes off of Missouri. Missouri beat Auburn, and then Auburn beats Texas A&M. Rock, paper, scissors, baby. What were your thoughts on that?
It's just the craziness of college football. It wasn't anything weird about this specific year that happened. It just, that's college football. The circumstances obviously are different in those games, but like Auburn, Mizzou not only beats them, if Cook's healthy the whole time, I think they beat them by probably 3 touchdowns, at least 2 touchdowns, based on how the first part of the game went and the last part of the game. It's just weird. But Mizzou got to play both those games at home, and Alabama and A&M were playing on the road. And as we've talked about, it's not just hard for Mizzou to win on the road. It's hard for anybody to win on the road in the SEC, even if you're Alabama, even if you're playing a team with a horrible offense like Oklahoma. If you throw a pick six and then another interception that ends up on the 5-yard line for an easy punch in, you're not going to win on the road. So, and if you can't score more than 3 points, you're not going to win on the road. So it was weird. It was strange. It kind of felt weird to watch, but it was also funny. I mean, I'm no fan of Oklahoma. I'm no fan of Alabama, but I did find it entertaining that Alabama got absolutely punched in the gut by that awful Oklahoma team. That was pretty funny. Auburn, I was rooting for the Aggies, to be honest. So I was a little disappointed there, but whatever. It was a funny game.
Hugh Freeze is good for one stupefying upset every single year, and this is it. So, I will never understand what the hell happened at Texas A&M. Like, I get why Mizzou lost to Alabama. I think even after the show, I was like, hey, it was working with Brady Cook, and then he was out, and then it couldn't work anymore because Drew Pine, but like you said, could not see safeties. So that one makes sense. I do not understand how that happened at Texas A&M. We can point to, oh, they prepared for a different quarterback, but that only explains so much. And just it's such a befuddling result. I'm never going to understand it. I'm really not.
I mean, just chalk it up to college athletes, and they're gonna not play their best every time. And for whatever reason, it was a perfect storm of everyone playing terribly and coaching terribly, and it was a perfect storm of awful play. Unfortunately, it all happened in that time in that one game. And weirdly, if they had won last week, they would probably still not be in the playoff, but they would be very much in the conversation for the playoff, which is frustrating. But I still don't think they would have made it, even if they had pulled it out last minute last week. They still wouldn't have gotten in, but it'd have been nice to be in the conversation. No longer the case. It is what it is. We've all accepted it. Hopefully, we haven't. Just moose off.
Hey, man, the consolation prize might be the Las Vegas Bowl, which it's been a while since I've been to Vegas. I don't know.
Yeah, Las Vegas Bowl, Gator Bowl. We've never been there, but have been kicking that one around a while. That'd be fun. Outback Bowl, what used to be the Outback Bowl, is now the ReliaQuest Bowl. Any of those would be fun. The first two you'd play Big Ten teams. Vegas Bowl. I don't know who's matched up in Vegas Bowl, but
that's an at-large. So I'm not exactly sure.
Kind of flip a coin. Music City Bowl. We were supposed to go there in 2020. Got canceled.
Yeah.
Could play a Big Ten team there. So it'd be fun to play a Big Ten team. I don't really care which one. I mean, I don't want to necessarily play Rutgers or UCLA, but it would be fun to play a competent Big Ten team wherever we end up. Location doesn't really matter to me. More opponent.
Well, that could be fun. Oh my good God. So I'm looking at CBS. So I know I've talked about this on the show before. My house is a split household. We are half USC, half Missouri. Wife graduated from USC. Obviously, I graduated from Mizzou. Las Vegas Bowl, according to CBS, USC versus Missouri.
Well, it'd be fun. You'd have to go. You'd be required by law to attend that one.
I'd have to. Yeah. Not only do I have friends in the area, but we have ties to both teams. Oh my God.
That would be fun. USC would be a fun team to play. That would qualify as a fun Big Ten team to play in a bowl.
Oh my God, it is a Big Ten team. I am.
Yeah. I'm assuming you watched the great rivalry that was UCLA USC Big Ten, long-lived Big Ten rivalry last night.
Yeah, I did.
That was not really a very exciting game, but it did happen.
No, but the good guys won, and it's still the prettiest game you get to watch on TV every single year. So that's fun. But that'd be an uncomfortable couple of weeks if it's USC Mizzou. I'm not about that action, boss. I don't want that.
Well, I'm going to root for it. You don't have to, but I'm going to root for it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, we've got Arkansas this week. It's not on Friday. I know there's like half the fan base who still thinks it is and half that isn't. I fall in the half that still thought it was going to be on Friday. Thank you, TV, for ruining something cool. I liked having my weekend and not worrying about whatever happens and seeing a full slate of games on Saturday. But, who am I? So yeah, Missouri, Arkansas is on this Saturday. It is at Faurot Field. It is senior day. Go sit on a Mizzou. Go do another 8-minute 40 run possession and just beat the hell out of Arkansas. How are we? What's our heat check? How do we feel about this game?
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
I'd be much more nervous going into it if it was in Fayetteville than the fact that it's in Columbia.
For sure.
Arkansas is certainly better than they were last year, but they're not good by any, they're not a really good team, but they are competent. And if you don't play if Mizzou doesn't play their B+ game, then they will be in trouble.
Yeah.
If Mizzou plays their B+ game, then, which I think we saw, I would say on the whole, we saw a B+ game against Mississippi State. If Mizzou plays a B+ game like they did, it's the same caliber that they played against Mississippi State, and the fact that it's in Columbia, Mizzou will win. If they come B-, if the defense gives up three long plays, if the offense can't move the ball, again, if they get down 2 scores early like they've liked to do in the past, they could be a different story.
They love that. They love not doing anything on their first possession. It's wild. What is also wild is that, heading into this season, we thought that there was going to be 2 slam dunk fires at this point, right? Billy Napier at Florida and Sam Pittman in Arkansas. And both those guys are going to keep their jobs. Now, I think a large part of that is that they are better than what people anticipated. I think the sneaky part is that the House decision and all of the revenue sharing that's somewhere down the pipe has really, really cooled the jets on boosters calling for the heads of head coaches before they need to be. To wit, at this point, it is November 24th, and we have had 13 coach firings, all of them at the G5 level. Every single one. Now, if you go back to last year, and by November 24th, we had 7 coach firings, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were P5 level.
Yeah, the G5 is much more willing to fire coaches this year because A, their buyouts are a tenth of what a P4 coach is. Yeah. B, those programs probably aren't going to be maximizing the amount of revenue sharing with their athletes as that they could anyway, just because they don't have whatever that number ends up being. 20 million has been thrown around. Whatever that number is, they don't have it to give. So they're not going to, they would much rather pay a $2 million buyout to fire their coach and move on, knowing that they're not going to have to pay it on the other end. It's much harder to justify spending a $20 million on a buyout when you're then going to have to turn around and spend another $20 million to maximize the revenue sharing if you're going to compete in a Power 4 conference and attract any kind of talent, which is what SEC, Big Ten, most ACC, most Big 12 teams will be having to do. That's why we've seen such fewer firings, or none at this level. And it makes sense if you're an athletic director out of Florida or at Arkansas even. And are you going to go to your boosters and say, hey, give us $20 million to fire this coach right now? Or are you going to go to your boosters and say, hey, give us $20 million so we can have the best roster that we can have on the team?
Yep.
Or you can give us $40 million and we can do both. And the boosters are going to be more likely to be like, oh, well, we've got the $20 million.
Yeah.
We can come up with that. But the $40 million is, a little much. So I'm sure Texas A&M is probably, they've got more money than God anyway, but they're probably kicking themselves that they're going to have to still be paying out Jimbo Fisher's buyout for the next who knows how many years, and start paying another $20 million on for athletes, here in the next year or two. It's going to make it a little tight, as tight as those purse strings can get, which still pretty loose relative to the rest of college football. It's going to be, they're going to have to tighten their belts a little bit.
No. Really curious to see how this year's carousel goes. It's been slow going, at least at the top level. So, but when you've consolidated power, Big Ten, the SEC, and you're into the playoff hunt longer into the year, and so you're less likely to yank the chain of the guy who's either getting you there or getting close. Plus the House settlement, plus just the ability to restock a roster very quickly and turn it over. It's a new era, and I think I like it, but jury's still out. We'll see how it goes a couple years down the road. But we are a Missouri football podcast, and we talked about Missouri football today, I promise. And we will talk about it more in the midweek, but at least for today, that is going to be our show. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment or rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter at Matt and A.G. Edwards. He's at First to Hurst. Of course, you can follow the Rockin' Flagship at Rockin' Nation and our podcasting outlet at Rockin' Radio. You can also follow us on Blue Sky if you want to be over there too. Of course, we appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, M-I-Z.
Z-O-U.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.